Hi. Today we're gonna be taking the political compass test for fun. It'll be fun. You don't have to agree with everything I say, um, but and I don't expect anyone really to watch the video all the way through because I expect it's gonna be long. But yeah, I'm gonna do this for fun, and the pop-tarts thing. It wasn't an April Fool's joke or anything. I thought of that before I realized it was April Fool's Day. It's just a stupid joke. I thought it would be funny if, like, on the surface, it looked like I made like a 30-minute video about Pop Tarts. but yeah, that's why that's called that. But anyway, we're gonna take this test. If economic globalization is inevitable, it should primarily serve humanity rather than the interests of transnational corporations. I'm a believer that what's good for corporations is good for us a lot of the time. Not all the time, but most of the time. But if you were to say that being good for humanity and good for the corporations is the same thing, then I guess, yeah, I agree. I'd always support my country whether it was right or wrong. I'm a nationalist, so I would support my country a lot of the time, but not if I thought it was straight up wrong. I would be like, no. But as a patriot, you're supposed to stick around and fight to make it better instead of just like leaving. Like, this sucks, I'm gonna leave somewhere else. That's not what a patriot or an American does or is supposed to do. No one chooses his or her country of birth, so it's foolish to be proud of it. No, I strongly disagree with that. I think you can be proud of where you're from and your culture and stuff, even if you didn't choose it. I mean, you've been a part of it, so there's nothing wrong with being proud of it. Our race has many superior qualities compared with other races. Obviously, I disagree with that on the basis of like obviously statistics show that some races have good qualities and bad qualities. Like, everyone, like, all the races have differences, and some have better qualities, but on the basis of the fact that it's just the color of your skin, your race, the answer is no. Not that I think that sounds like white supremacy, and it's not. I'm just saying that there are differences, and some differences can be considered better. Like, for example, Jewish people are good with money. That's like I don't know if that's a statistic, but it is at least a stereotype, and that's a good thing. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. No, I don't agree with that. You can have common enemies, but still disagree. And I don't think you should have to work with people who you disagree with just to fight another person who you disagree with. But sometimes it is like that. Military action that defies international law is sometimes justified. Yeah, I agree with that. I'm not even obviously. There is now a worrying fusion of information and entertainment. I think it's only for kids. It's only like that for kids. Now advertisers are really scummy, and they try to put off their advertisements as content. But I think it's only like that for kids. So I'm gonna put agree, but not for anyone above the age of like 13 can tell when they're being advertised to. So people are ultimately divided more by class than nationality. Yeah, I agree with that. Mostly because if the common stereotype is that, like, the rich white people and the ghetto black people, but if there was a rich black person, they would fit in fine with the rich white people. You know what I mean? They would fit in. Like, nobody's gonna attack them, I guess. Now, I think it might be the opposite sometimes. Actually, a lot of the time, I think there is racism towards, like, lower class white people. If a white person was to live in the ghetto, there definitely would be racism towards them. But I think overall, yeah, divided more by class than nationality. Controlling inflation is more important than controlling unemployment. Yeah. Actually, strongly agree with that because like in the Soviet Union, they had 100% employment rates. Like, nobody was unemployed, but they didn't control inflation. That's why they died. I mean, you can have everyone employed, but if the inflation is, yeah. Because corporations cannot be trusted to voluntarily protect the environment, they require regulation. Yeah, Yeah, because I said earlier, like, what's good for the corporations is good for all of us most of the time. This is the one time where I'm like, no, they need regulation. Um, yeah. From each according to his no, I'm gonna say it, but like I already know what it says. From each according to his ability, to each according to his need is a fundamentally good idea. No, disagree with that. There is no way a society like that would ever function, and I think you only get what you put into life. So it's a sad reflection on our society that something as basic as a drinking water is now a bottled consumer branded product. No, I actually think it's a good thing. Um, I think it's pretty great that you can just go to the store and buy a bottled branded consumer product. Like, I think this is a case of like people thinking that they have the right to everything. I think the implication in this question is that, first of all, capitalism bad, obviously, but second of all, that people should just get it for free or something, which is not true. It's just another thing that you have to pay for. So, land should not be a commodity that to be bought or sold. I disagree with that because I mean, what else would it be? I mean, like, you know, how else? The only other way is for everything to be privately owned, or I mean, not privately, government owned. And it's like obviously that's a bad idea. So it is regrettable that many personal fortunes are made by people who simply manipulate money and contribute nothing to society. No, I strongly disagree with that because this is a biased question, frankly. Um, this is a biased question because the idea that people only manipulate money is just wrong, and it's trying to paint like people who are like businessmen in a bad light. So yeah, I disagree with that. Protectionism is sometimes necessary in trade. Yeah, yeah, I agree with that. If you don't know, protectionism is just like adding tariffs to foreign goods to incentivize people to buy um, um, homeland goods, I guess. I don't know. Native, that's the word. The only social responsibility of a company should be to deliver profit to its shareholders. By social responsibility, you mean something that is not being forced to do by law, right? So if it's already being forced to have environmental regulations and like not falsely advertise and stuff, those aren't social responsibilities. Those are lawful responsibilities. So those don't count. So deliver profit to its shareholders. Yeah, I agree with that. The rich are too highly taxed. Yeah, definitely. No, I even got it. I do have to explain this one. It is not, in my opinion, it is not fair to tax people who do better for themselves. More like, listen. Here's like this is gonna be like a billionaire question, but I am kind of split on the billionaire thing because I can't morally agree with holding on to all that money and not donating it and doing whatever, doing good things with it. But at the same time, I can't morally agree with stealing it from them with taxes. I can't agree with either of those sentiments. So, but overall, I take the stance of like regular rich people, like doctors and stuff, not just like billionaires, like incredibly rich people, but just like regular rich people, like doctors and like people like that. Definitely, like those people work hard and they have student loans to pay. I know everyone has student loans to pay, and that's a whole separate issue, but they have more. Those with the ability to pay should have access to higher standards of medical care. Yeah, definitely. Government should penalize businesses that mislead the public. What do you mean by mislead? I think I'm going to say I agree with that, but it could depend on the interpretation of the question. But overall, I'm going to say I agree with that. A genuine free market requires restrictions on the ability of predator multinationals to create monopolies. Yeah. I mean, well, no. No. Not really. I mean, I get what you mean by what they mean by genuine free market. Like, if predator multinationals created monopolies, then the market wouldn't be free because people wouldn't be able to flourish. But I think overall, whoever's delivering the best product should be the one in charge anyway. And I mean, I know not all the time are people are the monopolies delivering the best product, but I mean, you've always got the choice to go to someone else, even if you know what I mean. Like, so the freer the market, the freer the people. Yeah, I really agree with that. When it comes to this stuff, I'd say like socially, I prefer more government control, but economically, I want like less government control, and I'm culturally right wing. But abortion. Oh, this is gonna be the rough one. I think from this is as time goes on, these become like more and more topical. Abortion when the woman's life is not threatened should always be illegal. Yes, I agree with that. Nothing much to say about that except that I'm a pro-life person, so that's why I put that. All authority should be questioned. I think authority should be questioned, but not just on the basis that it is authority. Like, you shouldn't be like, authority bad because it's authority. Like, I'm gonna put my phone away. But, like, I think authority should be questioned, but I think a lot of the time authority is right, and that it's something that you have to come to terms with. Like, just because they have control over you doesn't necessarily make it a bad thing. Like, they're doing it for a good reason. So, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. I know there's like a history for this phrase. It means like literally like in trade, like you should trade eye for eyes and teeth for teeth or something. But and I know in this case it means like should we get revenge on like counterterrorism and stuff. But in the sense of the counterterrorism and whatnot, I'm gonna say agree. Taxpayers should not be expected to prop up any theaters or museums that cannot survive on commercial basis. Strongly agree with that. Schools should not make classroom attendance compulsory. I think that something should be required, right? Like, you should be required to go to get an education, but not necessarily like a public school education. Like, I know you can do home, like that's an option, but homeschool is really difficult for most families, and I think it would be better if there were better options and alternatives. Because like anyone who is unstable financially is almost out of the question, unless they work from home, is almost out of the question for homeschool. So, yeah, I'm gonna say agree. All people have their rights, but it's better for all of us that different sorts of people should keep to their own kind. No, obviously, this is wrong. Good parents sometimes have to spank their children. Yeah, agree with that. It's natural for children to keep some secrets from their parents. I think that it is natural, but I think that in a good parent-child relationship, they shouldn't, but I know that they will. But as for, is it natural? Then yeah, agree. Possessing marijuana for personal use should not be a criminal offense. Yeah. I mean, come on, man. It's like, it's really just not a big deal. It's like, it's a waste of time to enforce it, frankly. The prime function of schooling should be to equip the future generations to find jobs. Sure. I mean, I don't necessarily have a huge problem with the way it is, which is to teach kids how to work and teach kids like responsibility rather than like actually equip them for jobs. And then like at the beginning they give them basic education, but the rest is just like learn how to take classes and be responsible and do work and stuff. But I think it'd be fine if I think it'd probably be a little better if it was just exclusively to find jobs. I think I agree with that. Actually, yeah, I agree with that. People with serious inheritable disabilities should not be allowed to reproduce. I've thought about this question before. I've decided that I disagree with it because I don't like the idea of taking that freedom away from a person on the basis of the fact that they have disabilities. Like, obviously, I don't want people to be... I think that is your social responsibility to understand that you... Like you're taking a huge risk and you could be giving them a bad life when you have this kid. It's a social responsibility to understand that, but I don't agree with taking the freedom away from them to do that. The most important thing for children is to learn to accept discipline. I think that is an important thing, but not the most important thing, so I'll say agree. There are no savages and civilized people. There are only different cultures. That's just wrong. I'm sorry. If you think that's right, I'm sorry. If you think that's right, it's just wrong. Those who are able to work and refuse the opportunity should not expect society's support. Strongly agree, obviously. When you are troubled, it's better not to think about it, but to keep busy with more cheerful things. Yeah, I agree with that. I don't know what that has to do with politics, but first-generation immigrants can never be fully integrated within their new country. I don't know necessarily what it means by fully integrated, but I think I disagree with that. What's good for the most successful corporations is always ultimately good for all of us. I've been saying that throughout this whole quiz. I think that's true most of the time, except for in the case of environmental stuff. No broadcasting institution, however independent its content, should receive public funding. Yeah, strongly agree with that. If you don't know why that public funding is a problem, it's because whoever's paying the bills around there can have a hand in projecting their political agenda onto the news source. So, especially in politicians, like people who pay to pay the bills around for these politicians make the decisions. That's just how it is. But our civil liberties are being excessively curbed in the name of counterterrorism. I don't really know what this question means. I don't know, like, civil liberties, but I'm gonna say disagree. If it means like the Pakistan war is like affecting Americans poorly, then I'd say disagree. Which is over now anyway, but I mean kind of over. A significant advantage of a one-party state is that it avoids all the arguments that delay progress in a democratic political system. I agree that that is technically an advantage of that, but I don't agree with this. I don't agree with the one-party state. Even though I agree that is technically an advantage. So I'm gonna put disagree because I know they want if I agree with the one-party system, I would put agree. So I know that they want me to put disagree if I don't believe in that, even though I think it is an advantage. Although the electronic age makes official surveillance easier, only wrongdoers need to be worried. No. People just want privacy, and I can agree with that. The death penalty should be an option for the most serious crimes. Yeah, agree with that. In a civilized society, one must always have people above to be obeyed and people below to be commanded. Yeah, I mean, unless you're at the bottom or at the top. It's just how it is, but abstract art that doesn't represent anything shouldn't be considered art at all. I mean, sure. Yeah. I don't know what that has to do with politics. In criminal justice, punishment should be more important than rehabilitation. Yes. That goes hand in hand with this next question. It is a waste of time to rehabilitate some criminals. Yes, it is. Obviously. Yeah, I think punishment should come before rehab. The business person and the manufacturer are more important than the writer and the artist. I'd say that they're equals, so no, not more important. Mothers may have careers, but their first duty is to be homemakers. I think as a parent, what it means by homemakers, I'm assuming, or I'm interpreting as like taking care of your kids and your house and stuff. I think that as a responsibility, as a parent, male or female, mothers and fathers, your first responsibility is to take care of your kids. So I agree with that, but not in like a sexist way. You know what I mean? Like I think that that's the first responsibility for mothers and fathers. Multinational companies are unethically exploiting the plant genetic resources of developing countries. I don't know what this question is. I'm probably going to say disagree. I don't know. I'm just guessing, honestly. Making peace with the establishment is an important aspect of maturity. Yeah, it is. Astrology accurately explains many things. No. You cannot be moral without being religious. I disagree with that, even though I think that you should be religious. I think that you can still be... There is objective morality. Charity is better than Social Security as a means of helping the genuinely disadvantaged. Yeah. Some people are naturally unlucky. I think what this question means is like some people are born in better circumstances, and like in that case, yeah, strongly agree. Some people are born in North Korea, and some people are born in America. Some people are born in the ghettos. Some people are born in the rich neighborhood. You know, like, so yeah, some people are naturally unlucky. But I mean, like, for the rest of life, if it's implying that I roll a dice, I have a higher chance of like winning Russian roulette or something, then no. It is important that my child's school instills religious values. Yeah, some religious values. I don't think they should be like you have to be Christian and like indoctrinate you, but I think that they should I think they should have some religion, and they should be like you have to have a religion. Not have to. You should have a religion. Sex outside marriage is usually immoral. Yeah. Same-sex couple in a stable, loving relationship should not be excluded from the possibility of child adoption. I don't think they should be excluded, but I think they should. I think that if there is a choice between a straight couple and a gay couple, straight couples should be chosen every single time. Not in a homophobic way, but in the way that mothers and fathers do not play the same role. That, you know, like, in most cases, it is way better for a child to have a mother and a father. So, like, whether it be a mother and mother or father and father, they're still missing something. So I think they should not be excluded, but I think that every single time, if there's an option, they should go with the straight couple. Pornography depicting consenting adults should be legal for the adult population. I think it should be legal, but, I mean, I don't necessarily agree with it, but I think it should be legal. Like I said, there are a lot of things that I don't agree with, but I think should be legal just on the basis of the fact that I don't agree with taking that away, the freedom away. What goes on in a private bedroom between consenting adults is no business of the state. I disagree with that. Yeah. No one can feel naturally homosexual. I agree with that. There are many studies that have shown that people are it's nurture, not nature. Including like twin studies like whatever. Identical twins who have the same DNA. One of them can be gay and one of them can't, which basically completely proves that it's nurture. These days, openness about sex has gone too far. Strongly agree with that. If you disagree with that, you need to like go on the internet. So I guess this is it. I already know about what else. Okay, so I'm gonna explain it for anyone who might not know. So the compass is so the closer to the top you are, the more not necessarily authoritarian. This makes it seem like just the closer up you go from the middle, the closer you get to authoritarian. That does not mean that if you're anywhere on here, you are authoritarian. That means if you are at the top, you are authoritarian. So as the closer you go, the closer you get. And then the same thing for the bottom. Complete libertarian means like complete freedom. So basically, like, this is government control. This is no government control. Now, like I said, I don't think this will be able to perfectly encapsulate my political beliefs because I think that socially there should be more government control. I think economically there should be less. So, and there's not like a scale for that. But and then the closer to the right, this is economic. This is not the social like left and right that you generally hear about. This is the closer to the right. Closer to the right you are, the more capitalist you are, and the closer to the left you are, the more communist you are. So top left is like Stalin and like Soviet Russia basically, and bottom left is like Marxism, Leninism, Marxist Leninism, and then bottom right, I can't really think of a country, but like I would say the closest thing is like Industrial Revolution America is bottom right. It's like pure capitalism. We were never pure capitalism, but that's as close as I can think of. Industrial America was like the closest I can think of, where it's like pure capitalism. Anything can be bought and sold, etc. And then authoritarian right. I can't think of authoritarian right people because the first thing that might come to mind is Hitler, but Hitler wasn't really authoritarian right. Hitler was like up here. He was at the top authoritarian, and he's like, because he had some socialist policies. Because this is, like I said, this is economic, not social. So if this was a social thing, then he would be over here, but it's not. So he's like up here. So yeah. So yeah, here I am. it's funny, every time I take this test, my results change. So last time I took this test, I was right here, I think. So I had way more. But I think, so clearly I went closer to the bottom. But, pretty, let's see. Basically, like, I saw someone who said, like, anyone in this category is authoritarian right. That's not true, because there's a thing called the Overton window, which is basically like it's basically like this square that goes around the middle. It's basically this square that goes around the middle, and it's basically anyone who's in this square is considered a centrist. So if you're in the square, you are not authoritarian right, you are a centrist. Now I think I'm pretty far right economically, I guess. I'm like in the dead middle, basically. So yeah, that's my political compass. It was never really about it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. It was never really about the results, it was about the way there. So yeah, I mean, there's another one I could take. I could take the 8 values test. You know what? I'm gonna take the 8 values test. So this is me, political compass results, 8 values test. It's a similar but different test. 8 values, 8 values. Okay, so the 8 values are. I'll explain it at the end, honestly. Oppression. This is a long one. This is gonna be a long video. Oppression by corporations is more a concern than oppression by governments. I disagree with that. It is necessary for the government to intervene in the economy to protect consumers. Disagree with that. The fear of the market, the fear of the people. Strongly agree. It is better to maintain a balanced budget than to ensure welfare for all citizens. What does it mean? A government budget? Or does it mean people should be responsible enough to have a balanced budget? I think I'm going to take it as it's better for people to have a balanced budget than to rely on welfare. And in which case I would agree. Publicly funded research is more beneficial to the people than leaving it to the market. Yeah. Tariffs on international trade are important to encourage local production. I think that it is important sometimes. From each according to his ability. No. It would be best if social programs were abolished in favor of private charity. Most of the time, yeah. Taxes should be increased on the rich to provide for the poor. No. Inheritance is a legitimate form of wealth. I mean, obviously. Like, basic utilities like roads and electricity should be publicly owned. Yeah. Government intervention is a threat to the economy. Yeah. A lot of the time. Those with greater ability to pay should receive better health care. Yes. Quality education is a right of all people. Like I said earlier, you should have the option to go to public school, and that should be... Well, here's what I mean by right. I mean, I think I would like it if the government would provide that for us, but I don't think it's like a right. Like, you should have to have this. Because I think a lot of the time people can home educate just fine. And I kind of disagree with, like, I think that we should keep rights to a minimum. Because the more rights you give, like, I just think you should keep rights to a minimum. Because, like, I don't agree with leaving everything to the government, you know. Because the government is not great at a lot of things. But, it's the right of all people. I agree that we should have it, so I'm going to put agree. The means of production should belong to the workers who use them. No. The United Nations should be abolished. I don't particularly like the United Nations. I don't know about abolished, because I think that sometimes it does good stuff. But overall, I'm going to say I'm going to say disagree. Actually, no, I'm going to say agree. Military action by our nation is often necessary to protect it. Obviously, strongly agree. I support regional unions such as the European Union. I don't have a problem with it, So I'll put agree. It is important to maintain our national sovereignty. Yeah, obviously. United world government would be beneficial to mankind. No. It is more important to retain peaceful relations than to further our strength. They're both important. So I'm going to put disagree, because one is not more important than the other. Although I would agree, actually, I think that the military is more important in keeping peaceful relations most of the time, because you can never keep that trustfully, Wars do not need to be justified to other countries. Like, it should only have to be justified to us. Is that what it's asking? Then, in which case, I would say agree. Military spending is a waste of money. No, obviously not. International aid is a waste of money. No. My nation is great. Strongly agree. Research should be conducted on an international scale. I think it depends, but overall, yeah, sure. Government should be accountable to the international community. No. Even when protesting an authoritarian government, violence is not acceptable. Sometimes it's necessary. But overall, I'm going to say agree. My religious values should be spread as much as possible. My religious values, not necessarily. Religious values, some religious values should be instilled. But overall, I'm going to say agree. Not necessarily. Our nation's values should be spread as much as possible. Yeah. It is very important to maintain law and order. Yeah. The general populace makes poor decisions. Strongly agree with that. Victimless crimes such as drug use should not be crimes at all. There is a victim, though, in drug use. It's you. You are the victim. And the nation needs people. So, if everyone was doing drugs, which I know not everyone does drugs. I know that's not necessarily a great argument, but I'm just saying, they're against the law because the government needs good people. And the idea that everyone could possibly do drugs and be harmful to themselves is bad for the nation as a whole. So, should not be crimes at all. Strongly disagree. The sacrifice of some civil liberties is necessary to protect us from acts of terrorism. Yeah, sometimes. Government surveillance is necessary in the modern world. No. The very existence of the state is a threat to our liberty. No. Regardless of political opinions, it is important to side with your country. I think if it's just a matter of left or right, or, up or down, I guess, but whatever, like culturally left or right, then sure. But if it's like you completely disagree with the fundamentals of your country, like America just decided to be communist, then I would say you should not side with your country in that case. But I think if it was just like Democrats and Republicans, then yeah, I think it's important to side with your country. So I'm going to say agree. All authority should be questioned. I think it should be questioned, but not automatically bad just because it's authority. So I'm going to say agree. A hierarchical state is best. Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to say agree. It is important that the government follows the majority opinion even if it is wrong. Well, what does it mean by even if it is wrong? I'm pretty sure this is a pure democracy argument. In which case, I'm going to say disagree. The stronger the leadership, the better. Obviously, I don't know why anyone would disagree with that. Democracy is more than a decision-making process. Not really. Not really. Environmental regulations are essential, obviously. A better world will come from automation, science, and technology, obviously. Children should be educated in religious or traditional values. Yes. Traditions are of no value on their own. No. Religion should play a role in the government. I think it... No. No. Churches should be taxed the same way other institutions are taxed. I'm not sure. Sure. Climate change is currently one of the greatest threats to our way of life. I think here's my thing about climate change. I know this is gonna sound conspiracy and whatever. It's not that I don't believe in it. I think that it is a natural process of the world. Because here's the thing, scientifically we're still classified as being in an ice age. Look that up. It's real. We're in an ice age right now. And an ice age is frankly not the natural state of the world. You know what I mean? And that's just not how it is naturally. So I think it's naturally making its way back to what it's supposed to be. And it's a lot slower than what people will have you believe. Since the 80s, scientists have been saying, it was in the 80s, the scientists said that by, I think it was 2010, it should go up by like 7 degrees. It went up, I'm pretty sure, we're in 2020, it's gone up by half a degree. If I can find it, I'll put a link in the description to that research, but, like, it's going way slower than what people will have you believe, and frankly, it's all just fear-mongering, honestly. Like, people are like, I saw an article, it was, we have 18 months to save the planet. Like, no. That might sound conspiracy tinfoil hat to you, but, and I'm almost sure no one has made it this far into the video, so I'm not really worried about it, but, yeah, I'm gonna say disagree. It is important that we work as a united world to combat climate change. Like I said, here's another thing about climate change. There are countries in the world who their economies, like the Middle East and China, they rely on factories and all the stuff that people claim to cause climate change. So even in a world where I believe people are causing climate change, there would be no point in stopping it, because countries like China and Syria and the Middle East and stuff are not lucky enough to be like America, where we can just be like, nope, we're going to make everything electric. And people are wealthy and lucky enough, a lot of us, to make that decision, which is why America is the #1 leading in lowering the emissions, or the whatever they're called, the emissions, you know what I'm saying. We're the #1 leading in the world in that. That's because we're lucky enough as a nation and as an economy to be able to turn to electric stuff and so what's going to happen if something like the Green New Deal passes is your electric bill is going to increase by up to 40% just for Syria and China to keep doing what they're doing, which is going to be what's making the difference anyway. So I'm going to say strongly disagree. Society was better many years ago than it is now. No. It is important that we maintain the traditions of our past. Yeah, sometimes. I mean, most of the time. It's important that we think in the long term beyond our lifespans. Yeah, obviously. Reason is more important than maintaining our culture. A lot of the time, yeah. Drug use should be legalized or decriminalized. Nope. Same-sex marriage should be legal. Yeah. No cultures are superior to others. Nope. Sex outside marriage is immoral. Yep. If we accept migrants at all, it is important that they assimilate into our culture. Yep. Abortion should be prohibited in most or all cases. Yep. Gun ownership should be prohibited for those without a valid reason. Nope. I support single-payer universal health care. Nope. Nope. Prostitution should be illegal. Yep. Maintaining family values is essential. Yep. I'm speeding through this because I know this is long. To chase progress at all costs is dangerous. Yep. Genetic modification is a force for good even on humans. Yep. Most of the time. We should open our borders to immigration. They should be this says open. I don't think that they should be completely open. So no. Government should be as concerned about foreigners as they are about their own citizens. What do you mean by concerned about? Like, we should fear them in the sense of, like, terrorism and stuff. But I don't know what they mean concerned. Like, I'm going to put disagree. All people, regardless of factors like culture or sexuality, should be treated equally. Yeah. It is important that we further my group's goals above all others. No. Okay, we got... Okay, so we got 61.5% market and then 38.5% equality. What that means, that's just the economic left or right, like I was on the other thing, which adds up. Yeah, this is almost the exact same results I got last time. I am 73.3% nationalist, so patriotic, I guess. 71% authority, that is not what I reflected on the other thing. And then 52.5% tradition, 47.5% progress. So, closest match, right-wing populism. Okay. So yeah, this is my results on 8 values test. So yeah, I think that's going to be it for this video. I know it's long, and I know it's called an in-depth look into Pop-Tarts. But I doubt anyone's made it this far into the video. But if you did, leave a comment that says leave a comment that says right-wing Pop-Tarts, I guess. I don't know. So yeah, that's it. See ya.